The worst thing about every current UFC champion in 2025. I saw HopperoMMA make this type of video about a year or so back. So I've got the idea from him basically. And I thought, why not make an updated video? Because a lot of champions have changed since then. And yeah, let's go. Get right into it. Starting with the flyweight champion, Alexandra Pantoja. Now, look, Pantoja's been the champion for a minute now. And some of these things I've listed can be, a bit subjective. But let me explain and hear me out and let me know your thoughts down below if you agree or you disagree. But first of all, I've put down he's got a lack of star power. He doesn't really trash talk. He's really not that marketable. He's just a good, humble fighter. And he's just, at this point, he's just having rematches with guys. So, that flyweight division speaks for himself. There's not much going on there. It's not that famous. It's not that popular. So he really hasn't got that, hasn't got that star power. I've put down language barrier / promo ability. Now, obviously, he speaks pretty good English. The only reason I put language barrier is for his promo ability. He doesn't really promote himself that much in the press conferences, on Insta, or anything like that of the sort. So, yeah, that's a pretty bad thing as a champion. And then also less fresh matchups. At this point, he's beating everyone. What's next? Just more rematches. We don't really want to see it anyway. So, if I had to say what's the next move for Pantoja, move up in weight. Move up in weight. Try your skills in the bantamweight division. Speaking about the bantamweight division, we got Merab. Now, the very first thing, the most obvious thing, that's the worst thing about Merab, a lot of people would argue it's his unexciting fighting style. A lot of takedowns, a lot of pressure, just cardio machine, and it gets it done. It works. What's not broken, why fix it? Or however that saying goes. But, it's, as a champion, people don't want to see it. But his fight against Umar was really good. So maybe he's taken a turn for, in a better direction. Lack of finishes, a lot of fights or decisions, a lot of fights. And if it carries on like this, with his title reign, it can get pretty jarring pretty quick if he's just going down to decisions. But that last fight against Merab was against Umar was very, very exciting. So more fights like the Umar fight, less fights like the fights before that. Then potentially a long title reign, with few exciting matchups. I don't see him losing to anyone in that bantamweight division. Umar was the next up-and-coming guy. And, fair enough. Apparently he broke his hand or whatever. So they're going to run it back in the future. But other than that, I don't see anyone who's really posing a threat. He's beating everyone. He's beating all the guys. He's beating everyone. So what else is there for him, realistically? Just a few more rematches and then what? And especially with his fighting style, he doesn't get knockouts like that. Come on, it can get pretty annoying. Looking at the featherweight division, Ilia Topuria, and I'm not going to lie, I'm reaching quite a lot with Ilia because you can't really name any bad things about Ilia, to be honest. Like, if we're looking at an objective point of view, what can you say which is kind of bad about him? I've said beats our favorites. I mean, look at it as you will. But, I guess from a fan's point of view, if you got Max Holloway getting knocked out, you got Volkanovski getting knocked out, this guy's beating everyone. So, which is a good thing. But at the same time, for some fans, they might not like it. So I'm reaching at that. But, that's that. Unproven championship cardio. I think this probably is the most significant thing I've listed because, again, he gets fights done quick. First, second round. So does he need to go the full distance if he can end it quick? Do you know what I mean? But then again, it's that question, what if he fights Islam, which I think that fight will happen in lightweight. And, the fight goes the distance, goes to the 4th, to the 5th round. Has he got the cardio to maintain, everything? We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But then again, kind of reaching because if he just gets fights done in the first and second, then is it really a bad thing? And then also potentially long title reign, just like Merab. Kind of because, realistically, who else is for him to beat in featherweight? He's beat Max Holloway. He beat Volkanovski. He beats everyone else. He's going to have the rematch with Volk. See how that goes. If he loses, then I guess I have the trilogy with Volk. But if he doesn't, there's no one that poses a threat in that division. Literally. So I see why he wants to move up to 155 because there's no one he can really fight in 145 anymore, which is really going to give him a challenge. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think. Islam, more of the same, to be honest. You can't really pick at Islam. He beats everyone. Whoever you throw at him, he beats them all. I guess Arman is the only guy who people are like, maybe Arman beats him. But then again, they fought before and he lost. So who says it's not going to be the same outcome again? And then what? Throw Oliveira at him again, who he's already beat. Like, what else? What else is there for Islam in the lightweight division? Is it really a bad thing that he beats everyone? I guess technically in this case of the video, but I've also put lack of trash talk and drama. Again, is it really a bad thing? From a champion, he is already quite marketable. We know who he is. I'm not going to say he's riding off Khabib's back a lot, but that does help significantly. But then again, imagine if Islam was trash talking and he carried himself more of a... Just imagine, that would go crazy. And then I've put his fighting style kinda. Because the thing with Islam is, right, he's still heavily ground-based, grappling, wrestling-based. But he does have his finishes, he has his knockouts. And you can't not give him flowers for that. He kicked Volk in the head, he knocked him out. And his fights are entertaining. Unlike some fighters who just, grapple, wrestle, and, just go for ground control and just all of that, just do little action. Islam's not like that. There's times at the fight maybe, but he's an exciting fighter. And like I said, you can't really pick at him. I'm reaching. Unlike Bilal. Now look, I'm sure Bilal's a great guy, right? I'm sure he's a great person, but this might just be the worst champion in the UFC. From the point of view of the UFC and from the fans. Because, number one, he struggles with finishing fights. He doesn't get any finishes. He doesn't get knockouts. He doesn't get submissions. And I'm sorry, maybe this is just like this narrative which is being pushed on TikTok, on social media and whatnot. But at the same time, every single time I've seen Bilal fight, it's always been a decision. Every single time. So that's that. His fighting style is he doesn't go for knockouts. He doesn't go for finishes. I'm sorry, no one's trying to watch that. And it's bad for business. No one wants to see a welterweight division like this. Because welterweight has one of the most stacked divisions as well in the UFC. And while Bilal is the champion, I don't see that division advancing any more forwards. Only decreasing, only declining. Because, look, I know he was supposed to fight Shavkat, but, Bilal said he got like a staph infection or an injury or whatever it was. All right, cool. They're going to reschedule that. They're going to run it back. But then if he still continues to be the champion, it's like, he doesn't really trash talk. He doesn't really, he's already not that popular among the people. That's not what you want from a UFC champion. So, look, let me know what you think. Maybe I am reaching too much for Bilal, but I think we can all agree on this. Then we got middleweight. We got Du Plessis. Now, the thing with Du Plessis is maybe I'm speaking a bit too soon, all right, for some of these things. But this is just at this current moment because I think Du Plessis is an amazing fighter. And I think this guy has potential to be a great middleweight champion. But at this time of recording, he's, just beaten, not just, but like it's been like a week or so. He's beaten Strickland for the second time. So, but yeah, let's get into it. I said unorthodox, sloppy fighting style. Look, it works, right? It works. It's interesting. It is. But if it works for him, it works for him. So I guess that's kind of a, an interesting thing. But if he's getting the fights done, he's winning them, sure. And I've put lack of knockout power compared to the past champions. I'm talking about Pereira, Adesanya. Now, I believe, his last few fights has just been decision other than submitting Adesanya. Before that, it has been finishes, So I can't really speak too much. Now, I'm just going on recent. I get the last two fights with Strickland have gone down to decision. But he did finish Adesanya, by submission. But if we look at the knockout power, I don't really see him, getting any, We'll just have to wait and see, like I said. We just have to wait and see. But for now, that's what it is. And then the division could become less marketable because, well, same thing. Like he trash talks, and also if there's not really big matchups anymore, like if Adesanya, is, not going to fight anymore in that division, or if he has one more fight, he's not going to fight Du Plessis. Alex Pereira is in that division. There's not really that many big names in the middleweights. So it could become less marketable. I guess he has to sort of promote himself a lot more to really carry that weight on his shoulders, of being that champion. But we'll just have to wait and see, like I said, this just time will tell for Du Plessis. So maybe reaching on him a little bit. Alex Pereira, now, honestly, it's difficult to even find anything bad. We're just cherry picking a little bit here and there. But, light heavyweight champion, that's a language barrier marketability, as if that's an issue, because he's already probably the most famous, current UFC fighter, he's very famous, and he doesn't even speak English. So imagine if he did speak English. It's probably double as famous, triple as famous. So again, is that a bad thing? Not really, but it would be nice if he spoke English. You could trash talk a bit more and whatnot. But I said, is he too good? He's realist. He's only lost to Adesanya. It's 1-1 in the UFC. He only lost to Adesanya, who was, a past champion. Other than that, he's beating everyone. Who else is there for him to fight? And that's my last point. Ankalaev. If the fight wasn't scheduled, I would have said, maybe, that's the only fight left for him realistically. But then if he beats Ankalaev, who else is there for him? He beat everyone in the middleweight division. He's come over to light heavyweight, beat everyone in the light heavyweight division. What, go up to heavyweight and fight John Jones or Aspinall? Or what's next? Because Loki is just speed running his whole career in the past few years in the UFC. People spend years trying to build their UFC resumes and stuff, and Pereira just come in and just swooped everyone out of the water. So yeah, we're gonna see how that Ankalaev fight goes, but realistically, I ain't got much to say about Pereira. John Jones, heavyweight champion. One big thing about John Jones, and it's Aspinall, right? I've put down inactivity because he's only fought twice since becoming the champ becoming the champ and one title defense in heavyweight, but that was to injury, so we're gonna let it slide and whatnot. But Tom Aspinall, that fight must happen because, look, if he's the heavyweight champion and we got the interim heavyweight champion and these guys are not fighting for the undisputed, look, I don't think John Jones is ducking to that extent as people say he is. I think he's trying to, play a bit smart and whatnot, play the cards in his favor. But if that fight doesn't happen, then you can't deny that he definitely is ducking, 100%. So that fight must happen. Tom Aspinall, the worst thing about John Jones right now is not fighting Tom Aspinall. Like, probably one of the biggest things in the UFC, will be one of the biggest fights in the UFC, and that fight must happen. So I've also put down retirement, because that's a question mark. He said maybe one more fight, maybe not one more fight. They're working on one more fight, but we don't know what that might be. So, if he retires, then look at that heavyweight division and it's in the shambles. Because we've got Tom Aspinall, average finish time in heavyweight division, 2 minutes or so. He's already beaten everyone there, to be honest, other than John Jones. That division is going to be even more in the shambles now that John Jones is going to be gone if he retires. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. And I might be reaching on some of these guys, like I said. But, for the sake of the video, we just have to, we have to list some things down. But if I got something wrong, let me know. But, yeah, other than that, if you enjoyed it, drop a like. Let me know what else you want to see. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.